Ange, Rob and Robbo.
Streaming live across the globe, Angela Rao, Rob McKnight and David Robinson.
Ange, Rob and Robbo. News, entertainment too. See Ange, Rob and Robbo. Ange, Rob and Robbo.
Welcome to the Ange, Rob and Robbo Show.
Welcome indeed. It is Thirsty Thursday. Angela Rao and David Robinson are with me to partake in a few drinks and also talk some hot topics. Jo Casamento will be here to talk about film and entertainment, and there's plenty of surprises along the way too. David Robinson, hello to you, sir.
Good morning. Good evening, Rob. What time is it? Hello, Rob, and hello, Angela Rao.
Yes, I know. Rob McKnight, just Meghan Markle, my name.
When it happened. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did. And it's funny, we do these rehearsals straight before the show and we're having some problems with Robbo's internet. But hopefully Robbo will be there and we can have a good chat with him. But we've got a lot coming up into tonight's show. I almost said today after Robbo's. Got me talking about today. Too much breakfast radio for him. But Ange, it is a big show coming up. But let's get straight into it with the hot topics of the day. And we start with the New South Wales Police Commissioner, Mike Fuller, wants to introduce a consent app in order to combat rising sex assaults, as he declared consent can no longer be implied. The Daily Telegraph reports Mr Fuller's intervention comes as the New South Wales government faces calls to reform laws to require active consent and calls to include consent education at schools. The app encrypts and stores the digital agreement to be used later if needed. What do you think, Ange? Is this consent app a good idea?
Maybe one day in many years from now, when it's had time, because it hasn't had time and research. It needs that properly dedicated to making this something more than just what it is, which is a well-intentioned but knee-jerk, half-baked idea that needs to have been in the oven for so much longer. God bless him, but Fuller, I don't think, should have said anything at this stage, because it just sounds like he's been in, one too many of those brainstorm sessions about blue sky thinking or some absurdity, because there was nothing concrete that he could offer. This is how it's going to work. And of course, there would be a barrage of what about this and what about that? And there was, and he wasn't able to give anything. Oh, well, it needs more time and, we didn't have those answers yet. Well, then he shouldn't have said anything. And look, even if a consent app and its information was to become admissible in court, which would take eons in itself, knowing legal precedents, it would only show that both parties had consented at one time, which would give the prospective attacker protection. So, where's the allowance via technology for a human to change her or his mind at any stage, and for the other human to comply? There's none of that, and you'd think that was the most 101 of this conversation, and there are no answers. And he's talking about, when we're talking about people who hook up via an app, well, they know how to use technology for that. Well, okay, say that's true. Say somebody does, and a lot of times a random hookup like that does involve alcohol and or drugs. You throw that into the equation, and it just gets so much murkier. It's just so. There are just no answers at this point, so I just don't think it was a viable thing for him to put forward. God bless him.
Look, it's very interesting, the reaction to this, because my initial reaction was, this is a great idea. This will make it very clear. And it actually reminded me of this scene from the Amazon Prime video series Upload. Take a look.
Did you bring protection? I consent to this.
I consent to this.
Obviously, we're not at that point with those kind of technological devices. But, Robbo, it was interesting to me. As I said, my initial reaction was great. Jane Caro this morning on Sunrise said that this is about protecting men. This is not about women. This is about protecting men who are accused of rape. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's an awful idea. Consent is as fluid as the fastest flowing river anywhere in the world. It can change at any second, at any minute. It doesn't matter what you're in the middle of doing, what you've agreed to do previously, or what you're about to do. There is always a moment that you can stop. Well, so do you then go, oh, I'm not really into this. So if we could just get our phones out, we'll just, so I'm going to stop now. And yeah, cool. Okay, thanks so much. Not going to work. It's a ridiculous idea. That clip from Upload, whilst we're not there technology-wise, maybe that would work in the future because it looks like it's real time. You know, we're getting kind of science fiction here, but it looks like it's real time, that if one of those people did decide, I don't want to do it anymore, it's recorded and all of that. We're nowhere near that kind of technology. And the idea of going at the beginning of an encounter that you consent, but where's the fluidity to that? It's ridiculous. There have been many times where I've been in a situation where I have said yes to something and then don't want to do it anymore. So how does that work? But in this app, though, I would have said yes to consenting with that person at the beginning, and 5 minutes into it, I'm not into it. So how does that then become admissible? Because you could say the perpetrator could go, well, he said that I could do it. Like he said that. So what? And then a judge or a jury will then say, well, David, we've got the app, buddy. You consented to it. What a ridiculous idea.
But okay, look. People are saying he's an older man, he's a police officer, he really doesn't have a clue. It does show it's being thought about. There is a problem here, isn't there, Ange? You know, there's a reason people like him are looking for these kind of solutions.
Of course, and that's why, I referred to it as just this sort of, as knee-jerk. That's what it is. If this had been started maybe, 10 or 12 years ago, for example, maybe it would be a viable option now. But it isn't. It isn't. There are years in the making for something like this. And, in the interim, of course we have to do something. And suddenly everybody's jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, my God, let's all grasp our pearls. This is dreadful. We have to do something. And come out with these idiotic ideas. But it's got to start at the start. And that is schools teaching consent to both boys and girls from primary and making it a compulsory part of the curriculum, just like maths and English, until the end of secondary. That's the first port of call as far as I can see, because technology right now isn't going to fix this. We are humans.
Yeah, but there's so many problems going through schools at the moment anyway, where, teens are sending naked photos of themselves to each other.
Exactly, and that's why we need this.
Robbo, I know you're chomping at the bit, so I'm going to let you jump in and wind us up on this one.
Sorry, sure. So that was going to be my point exactly, that obviously we start with the consent-wise. Now, that's going to take a long time as any kind of bureaucratic government, initiative, especially when it comes to schools and sex. But it's much more doable than an app with technology that doesn't really exist, that really has no basis in it. The police commissioner should have come out and said, well, look, as a police service, we are pushing and pressuring our education department, the premiers, to start really getting in at the ground roots level and teaching consent. Like Ange said, that is far more, viable and, within arm's reach than a bloody app. Like, I don't think the idea of him being able to say, oh, well, we're thinking about it, we're looking at all areas. Well, that's not even there yet. You sit down in a classroom and you say, look, when a girl says no, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you stop. When a boy says no, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you bloody stop. No need for an app. Idiocy is what I'd like to finish
Do you know what gets me about this, though? It was the front page splash of the Telegraph today. The police commissioner would have wanted, this is an easy goal, has given it to the telly. They've done a front page splash. It's created this conversation, and it has not gone well for Mick Fuller today. And by mid-morning, he was holding a press conference and he was on the defensive because people were just blasting this idea. I think it came from a good place, but I agree with everything you guys have said. Let's move on. Because Australian researchers have created a world-first scientific breakthrough by creating model human embryos without the use of an egg or sperm. Scientists at Melbourne's Monash University took skin cells of an adult's arm and reprogrammed them to replicate the first few days of human life. For many, this is raising ethical questions with calls for international guidelines prohibiting taking embryos full term. Robbo, what do you think about the idea of creating human life this way?
Well, I think it has a lot of benefits in science. You know, stem cell research has been long looked at as a way of, you know, how can we fix certain ailments, you know, on a very, like mitochondrial disease, which is basically a cell eats itself, you know, to kind of find cures for that kind of thing is really good. We have to understand and we have to work out, well, do we want to take that next step and potentially get rid of all of these diseases or ailments? The other way that they could do it is no longer will you be on a waiting list for a transplant or, you know, possibly die before you get one, because they'll grow a new heart from your own cells, which is a really good thing. Obviously, the people who are getting hot and heavy about it are religious people, and that's their right. That's okay. But they don't get the right to push their beliefs on everyone else. I'll tell you right now, if they could grow, if one of my family members or friends were dying and they had this technology and they could grow a new liver, you grow the liver, okay? Now, if you're a Catholic person or whatever and you don't agree with it, you don't do it, well, then don't do it. You don't say to the doctor, I don't want it. I don't think that it should be this thing at this day and age where the Catholic Church go, well, no, you can't do that. Well, that's fine. It's the same as, look, the name escapes me, but the religion that doesn't believe in medical care and, you know, just in prayer. That's your prerogative. You can do that, and that's okay. Jehovah's Witness, you can do that. That's what you believe in. That's okay. I don't like this idea of religion pushing onto everyone else that they find it unethical. Well, I just want to finish with this. I find a lot of the things that the Catholic Church does unethical. That's my thoughts.
Okay, it's interesting though. You've talked about growing livers and stuff like that, and I completely agree with you. The question here is whether we think it's permissible or ethically okay to grow life outside of the traditional norms of sex creating life. Angelie, what do you think?
I think this is the most tremendous medical advance. Mm-hmm. God damn, humans are clever when we're not being
seriously
absolute arses.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. And also, what dilemma? We're talking about a grouping of cells, not the real life incarnation of Terminator, for God's sake, you know. And if this leads to so many other things, like, you know, working out the earlier stages of human development, which can't be studied now because of the ethical rules governing the study of natural embryos. And, you know, I think that this is absolutely fantastic. You know, from a personal standpoint, I tried for many years to conceive. And it was just the most dreadful pain, failing and failing and failing over and over and over again. And no doctor was ever able to tell me why. All they were able to say was that I would never be able to bear a child, and that I'd either have to adopt or that I would have to ask my sister to be a surrogate. Oh my God. Thankfully, doctors are not always right. And Exhibit A, as I like to call him, is currently eating an ice lolly on the sofa. But, you know, research like this just could give so much hope to so many. I know exactly what that pain feels like. So I am all for this. I think it's brilliant.
I agree. I don't care where life comes from, as long as there are people to love and look after that child. That, to me, I believe in choice. I believe in the right to a woman to choose what happens with her body, as in if she doesn't want to have the baby that's inside, not a problem. But I also believe if there's people who want a child in their life, whatever it takes to help them get that result is fantastic. We've just got to... You know, we've just got to stop being so regressive in how we look at technology and what we can do, and look at how it's helping people. I think the fact, and Robbo said this, religion has held us back over the years, and religion doesn't always set the best examples. We've seen so much bad things happen within church groups. You know, I'm obviously talking about pedophilia, and that's covered up. And I don't think religion is our guiding light when it comes to the ethics we should have. And a lot of people will say, well, if you don't believe in God, you can't be ethical. Well, I reject that claim absolutely and completely.
That's not true at all.
I don't try to be an ethical person because I'm fearful of what will happen afterwards. I try to be an ethical person and make good decisions because I believe that's the right thing to do as part of of being part of a society. It's not through fear. And if you're making your decisions through fear, then maybe you need to look at who you really are as a person, and thus the lesson.
I mean, I am religious.
Well, I appreciate
like the two of you know that I am religious, but I'm also firmly pro-choice. And I consider myself an ethical person. I consider myself a moral person.
Yes.
That's not because I'm religious.
Yes.
And, oh my God, you know,
and I want to be very clear, and we've gone down a bit of a different path here. I have no problem with religion, and I have no problem with people who believe in religion and that's their truth, and it brings them comfort. But what I'm saying is the whole world can't be guided by a set of rules that one group considers over for the rest of the group. As a society now, as we grow and people are looking at alternatives, you know, we need to rethink what our ethics are as a society, not based on religious teachings. I don't know.
Yes.
I think we need to be bigger.
Yeah. I agree with that. I also think, you can be part of any religion you like as long as it doesn't hurt people. But the sobering fact is it often does hurt other people in society, but that's a whole other deal. There's I'll be really quick on this. There's a very strong belief and theory that if the church didn't have as much power as it did in the Renaissance period, where, you know, people like Galileo and things like that were... you know, the church went after them because they shouldn't be doing those kind of things because science, you know, that's bad. It's all about God and religion and things like that. There's this idea that if that didn't happen, our technology would be far more advanced at this point in time than it is now, because it was stopped at the beginning of when we were starting to really question our existence and question the world around us and things like that. I think they still have a lot to answer for, and I think it's still trying to happen now. No, don't do it. Back off.
All right, let's move on, because you might not remember the name Jess Glasgow, but when I show you this clip from The Bachelorette, all those memories will come flooding back. Take a look at the lasting impression he made on Angie Kent.
I work in local politics in Noosa.
Do you?
Yes. I'm a local councillor, so the one below the mayor.
That's super impressive.
This might just be the key to our town.
To anywhere in Noosa?
Anywhere in Noosa. So I'm giving this to you, okay?
Okay.
Oh, look at that. It fits perfectly.
Oh.
But I have another gift for you that's even better.
Oh, my God, you're all about the gifts.
So that is the key to our town. And this one, okay, my dear?
I bet you I know what it is.
If you look here. Do you know what it is?
The key to your heart.
It's the front key to my door. The key to my apartment.
Wow. Seriously, mate?
But I'm not going to tell you the address right now because you're going to have to work for it.
I have to work for it. What? What about you working for me there, champ? Jesus.
Guys, really quickly, do you mind if I just go and have a shower with some steel wool? I'll be right back. But I'm going to need about an hour to wash that off myself again.
Fair enough too. Well, no surprises. Things have gone from bad to worse after Glasgow finished up on the Channel 10 series. Today, he was fined more than $4,000 over his offensive appearance. The Councillor Conduct Tribunal found the former councillor from Noosa recklessly engaged in misconduct during his appearance on the TV show and in subsequent media interviews. Glasgow was a councillor from 2016 until he failed to win re-election in March 2020. And he told the Brisbane Times he would appeal against the decision, and there was zero evidence. Robbo, did he deserve to be fined? Like, he made a complete dick of himself on television. Did he deserve to be fined for that?
Look, I've just formed an opinion on this, actually, just really quickly, just thinking about and listening to your intro. He's not in office anymore. He appeared, please forgive me, 2018, did you say? Was it that long ago?
Oh, he was in 2018, The Bachelorette, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it's you know, almost 3 years, really, and now this is happening. It's almost like the attention had been forgotten. So Noosa Council is all about the fact that they brought them into disrepute and that kind of thing. But it was 3 years ago, and everyone had really forgotten that link. They just remember him as being a gross, slimy slug. I don't know. He's not in off. Like it just seems weird to me to bring it up again and then charge him $4,000. Like it had gone. If they had done that 3 weeks after he was on the show, then fine, absolutely. 3 years later.
Justice takes time, Robbo. Justice takes time.
And he's not even in office. And if he was still in office, then, it doesn't matter when the justice happens. He's long gone. Everyone had forgotten the Noosa connection. They just remember him as being an idiot. This is weird, and
And they said they would have sacked him if he was still a councillor.
Yeah, of course they would have. But then then I don't understand what the whole argument that he had was, which was like, oh, I was on holiday. Well, what difference does it make if you're not even there anymore? I mean, obviously, if you still were and you're elected official, and everything that brings with it, including not your own reputation alone, but also that of your council as well. I don't understand why he was punished so long after the fact.
Yes,
that's the sort of the puzzle piece that's missing for me. But I did love the part about him, whining about losing his job, like, oh my God, there's zero proof I lost the election. It's like that. If that's what you want to be famous, dude, you are, because Donald Trump is clearly your understudy. Oh my God.
So true. So true.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I'd forgotten about this guy too. It's back out there. But geez, when I was going back through the footage today, what an idiot. They do manage to find them pretty well for The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I'll give them that. Great casting. Let's move on. A UK actress has sensationally ended a TV interview just 1 minute in because she didn't like the title on the screen. Patsy Palmer, who played the iconic Bianca Jackson on BBC's EastEnders and was most famous for saying, Ricky! Didn't seem keen on doing the interview in the first place, though. Take a look at this.
Morning, Patsy.
Morning.
Lovely to see you this morning. Did you move to Malibu to get away from people shouting Ricky at you in the street?
Not really. Not just for that reason. Maybe one of them. Maybe many.
Well, Patsy, do you know what? You kind of have done what Meghan and Harry did, which is get away from the UK, go off to California, set up a new life. And I know you've spoken about Meghan and Harry as well. You've spoken out about them. I wonder whether you do get more privacy over there.
Yeah, I think you do. You do. You know what, actually, I don't even want to do this interview because I don't even want to look at what it says at the bottom of that screen. So I'm just going to switch off, do a real Piers Morgan and just say it's not okay to have addict to wellness guru on the bottom of the screen.
Well, huge apologies for that.
My issues that I had years ago that were talked about by me many, many years ago, and it's over. So
I'm so sorry about that, Patsy. Huge apologies. It wasn't our intention to upset you. That's obviously a quote from Patsy's book, and as she's talked about in the past, certainly wasn't our intention to upset Patsy. We were keen to hear
I had
all
no
about
idea that was on the screen.
Her wellness brand, which she's promoting as well.
Well, that's a terrible shame. Our apologies to Patsy. She's entitled not to do the interview, and we carry on. It's just coming up to 1 minute past 8. Here's Laura with the weather.
Now, look, as presenter Ben Shepherd did note in that clip, the term addict to wellness guru is a term she used in her own book. And look, from the get-go, it looked like she was looking for an excuse to pull the plug, or maybe it is very insensitive of Good Morning Britain. What do you think?
Well, she certainly didn't want to be there after she saw that sneaky change of super. Who would? I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. I love Patsy. Bianca! Love her. She's the great.
Ricky, don't make me come up there!
But, celebs do this all the time. So they talk about something once, and they go, well, that's a nice, juicy little lamb chop of gossip to sell my new book. And now we'll talk about something else, and this will never be brought up again. Basically, if you don't want it discussed forever, don't mention it in the first place. It is going to come up, of course, again and again and again. And I get that might piss her off after 20 years. Live with it. You're the one who said it. But to be honest, the thing that would get me about that is if somebody was interviewing me and changed my super, which of course is the words on the bottom of the screen, while I was talking, just in order to make what I would say more salacious.
All the time, Ange.
Yeah, but that was different. So it started off as, actress and entrepreneur, and then it sort of went the total 180, addict to wellness guru.
But that is a line that she has used in her books.
Wait. No. The book was written 20 years ago. So the way that he said it on air, I initially thought, she's got a new book about her wellness guru stuff, and that was in there. It wasn't. It was the fact that she was an addict was in a book 20 years ago. She's more than her addiction. I appreciate and adore her courage and her confidence. She's not working in the media anymore, really. She's got an Instagram account to just shut it down. Normally people, need that kind of press. She didn't do it. It was in a book 20 years ago. Very devious from him to say, it was a line from her book.
But Robbo,
20 years ago about addiction. It was not addiction.
I don't think anyone on that show, this is my take, I don't think anyone went out to be mean or hurt her or was trying to get something out under her. I think they just came up with it. The moment she saw it as an issue, they took that super off the screen. Now, if they hadn't, maybe she's got something to say. She didn't even give them a chance to say, look, we'll remove that. Sorry. The hosts were apologising. This wasn't combative from them.
They were, and it wasn't.
But it's also from Good Morning Britain, though. Yeah.
I know they can't keep their anchors. Now they can't keep their guests. But
there's a problem there, and it's insensitive.
But come on.
But to ask a question, maybe in the course of the interview, depending on how it's going, and you have to read the room there. But to make it the super, that is out of order, I would say.
Yeah.
As far as Patsy Palmer is concerned, the only thing I would say about that is, if it was me and something like that came up in the super for everybody to read, whether they could hear me or not, they can just see that. I think that there were better ways that she could have handled it. I would have sort of said words to the effect of, so I've just noticed, secret squirrel. I see what you did there. One of us has a bit of class. So I'll just sit here until you change it back, and then we can continue this lovely discussion.
Yeah, but as soon as she raised it, that super went off. And I don't know.
Too late.
You can't. It's too late, and you can't decide what is hurtful to someone, especially when it comes to there are derogatory tones around addict. Now, if she had cleaned her act up a year ago, 2 years ago, at a stretch 3 years ago, but I'm stretching there, then I could understand that is in the narrative. She was an addict, and now she's a wellness guru doing really, really well. She's been clean for 20 years. So
I know it's the whole thing about public record, though, and that's where it sort of gets a bit woolly sometimes. I remember when I interviewed Nigella Lawson, and not being able to ask her a single thing, including not being allowed to refer to her as domestic goddess, which was the title of the book that she wrote.
Oh my
she wrote
God.
the book called The Domestic Goddess, and you're not allowed.
That's not good. Oh my God.
To another extreme, I think. I love her though. She's gorgeous, but good Lord, you're the domestic goddess. Live with it.
Yeah. Do you know how she says, the thing that you put in your kitchen and you put it in, you close the door and you do the buttons? Do you know how she pronounces that word? You know that the machine I'm talking about starts with M?
If it's in a kitchen, I do not know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, fine, fair. No, the microwave. It's microwave. I'm just going to pop this into the microwave. I love that woman just based on that kind of action.
So good.
All right, we'll move on. But I'm obviously in the minority here because I think it was a complete overreaction. From the moment they cut to her in that interview, she looked like, I don't want to be here as I stroke my puppy. And she was looking for an excuse to pull the plug, and even had the idea of Piers Morgan already in her head. I think it was all about publicity and not actually having to answer any questions. All right, let's move on, because she might be one of Australia's highest paid radio announcers, but Kiss FM's Jacky O has admitted she's flittering her money away on computer games. Well, one game in particular. Have a listen to what happened when Carl Sanderlands and some producers confronted Jacky O about the fact she was distracted and ignoring them lately.
Pedro and I figured out what it was that you were doing, and it's bloody Candy Crush. Instead of listening to us, you're playing Candy Crush.
What is that game on the phone?
My
Yes.
God, I'm such a loser for doing this. I mean, who nobody plays Candy Crush anymore, surely.
No, I haven't heard.
Like, you're like 7 years late to this.
I think about 15 years late.
Only like 65-year-old women on the train play it.
I can't help it. I'm so addicted to this Candy Crush, and I'm actually spending hard-earned money on the bloody game.
What do you mean?
Because they make you spend money. They do.
Oh, Jack.
I reckon I'm spending about $80 or $90 a week on Candy Crush.
Doing what? How does it cost money?
Because if you can't get through that level, they block you out for a period of time unless you pay to keep trying to get through to that level. And then there's all these extra things you can do, like to help you complete that level, but you pay for it, and it's a problem.
Well, I've got to ask you, Ange, is there anything you waste your money on?
Yes, caring for the family.
Oh, so true.
Might as well just flush it all straight down the U-bend. Bloody ingrates. But
wow.
No,
Everything okay at home, man?
Online shopping.
Talk about it?
Look, I am a shocker when it comes to online shopping. It's like clothes, shoes, furniture, magnetic eyelashes. Izzy, my little boy, here's the dread cry.
You bought Izzy offline? You bought him on online shopping?
Right.
What?
Well, like
wow, you really do have, you're buying kids now?
Sell his...
Yeah.
I know, right? That's what we do. It's like sell his internal organs if he doesn't shape up. But he's always like, as soon as he hears the postman, he's always like, Mama, what have you spent my inheritance on this time? Can I please waste the rest of it on Fortnite?
Oh, he's great.
I'm like, yes, boo-boo, of course you can. Mummy will just pick some more off the inheritance tree for you to squander, shall I?
I loved everything about that response. I thought that was brilliant. Understand?
Thanks, darling.
Brilliant. Beautiful.
If the God's honest as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Robert, what do you like spending your hard-earned ABC money on?
Well, it's your money, thank you. If you're paying your taxes, we appreciate it. I probably food when I don't need to be eating. Well, clearly I don't need to be eating food, but when I could just make a sandwich, I'd rather go out and have a Parmigiana or a salad. I guess so.
A salad?
Yeah, probably that.
Oh,
yeah, no one believed that.
Mr.
Yeah.
Excitement, hold on to your hat.
Yeah. Yeah, and a garden salad at that. Yeah, probably that, eating out too much. I don't know. I don't really buy anything anymore. I'm really sad. And I've got no money.
I feel really depressed listening to your answer, Robbie.
Yeah, me too, actually. Me too. It's really shone a light inside my soul that I don't want to see. Anyway, can't wait.
Rob,
what about you,
What does Rob waste his money on?
I've been known to spend a little, not much, just a little bit on games to get extra credits. But one time, I subscribed to Wheel of Fortune. I bought the game, and I thought it was just a one-off here. And I was getting charged a lot of money each month, and I didn't even know. Like, it was like $100 or something like this. And I was like, I suddenly went, what the hell?
He's doing so well.
He's going to kill me.
I didn't even know that I was spending $1,000 a month. It
wasn't $1,000, Robbo.
It didn't even occur to me. It was just because I saw it on a bank statement once. Oh, God.
I did once feel really guilty when, because I'm not like a betting person at all, but I did once feel really bad when I decided to bet on something and spent a little bit of money. Not much, just like a few hundred, but I was like, oh God, should I have done that? And I got $8,000 back. It was on the royal wedding.
All right.
I bet on the royal wedding and I got $8,000.
I keep wondering whether...
I'm just going to download the TAB app.
Do you know what? I keep wondering whether I should go on Sportsbet because they do lots of TV bets. No. And I get
That's exactly
information. Who'll be the host of Dancing with the Stars? Daryl Summers.
So I got one of those. I got one of those when they announced that my dear friend and yours, Richard Reed, was going into the jungle. As soon as they announced that he was going in, I said to Izzy, I was like, yes! And he said, what? And I said, one of my besties is going into the jungle and he's going to win. And Izzy said, you should put some money on that. And I did. And I won. Big.
This kid's a smart kid. He's across the finances. I like it. Yeah.
Right?
See, I've never had the guts to do it. All right. Let's move on, because when it comes to many of nature's extraordinary sights, only a few people will be lucky enough to experience them in person. For the rest of us, we live vicariously through the lenses of photographers and filmmakers. The World Nature Photography Awards celebrate the natural world, and here were some of the winners. This photo shows a free diver in the Hawaiian Islands won early summer's morning and won the gold prize in the human and nature category. Pretty amazing shot. This great horned owl in Alberta, Canada earned the photographer the gold prize in bird behaviour. And here we have a white rhino being dehorned in South Africa to avoid being killed by poachers. And it won the gold prize in nature journalism.
Oh, wow.
And finally, the grand prize went to this photo of Borneo, of a Borneo orangutan. Pretty good photo.
Beautiful.
I love those. All right. Robbo, Ange. It's over to you for the latest news headlines.
Oh, is it? All right, then let's do that. Checking out the stories making news on this Thursday, the 18th of March, 2021. Well, chaos and confusion has reigned on day one of the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, with a national booking platform failing to operate on the day of its launch. Doctor surgeries were caught off guard by an overwhelming number of inquiries after more than 1,000 practice names were listed as available for the rollout on the government's website, which came as a surprise to many GPs. Currently, there is no open portal for vaccine appointments, which added to the frustration. The president of the Australian Medical Association confirmed that a small number of practices had the vaccine available, and most clinics would be added in the coming weeks. ASIO has cracked a major foreign espionage network operating in Australia that was able to recruit a government official who had security access to classified defence technology. Referring to the network as a nest of spies, the agency in question also groomed current and former politicians, as well as officials of an unnamed police service, and sought access to sensitive security protocols for a major airport via a public servant. Security sources confirm the country behind the spy ring is not China, with speculation in the intelligence community centred on Russia, which has traditionally regarded Australia as a backdoor to US intelligence. Australia's unemployment rate fell to 5.8% in February, down from 6.3%, with the number of Aussies with jobs almost back to pre-pandemic levels. Economists say it's a surprisingly large fall and shows that the labour market is improving much faster than expected, with total employment now just 1,800 under pre-COVID numbers in seasonally adjusted figures. As for the demographic which secured most of the jobs in February, it was women. The next major test, now say economists, will be the end of JobKeeper at the end of this month.
There are now more jobs in the Australian economy than there were before the pandemic. That is something that is truly remarkable.
New Zealand could decide as early as Monday to open a quarantine-free travel bubble with us from mid-April. That's currently being discussed by a New Zealand Cabinet Committee, and if it goes ahead, each country would retain the right to halt travel as it sees fit. Airports would be divided into green zones, which are free and open to travel, and red zones, which would be reserved for travellers coming from elsewhere in the world to transit or quarantine.
We are working very, very hard to make sure that we give people as much certainty as possible, and we'd like to see it soon.
And Queensland police are investigating following video of a group of Brisbane idiots, I mean teenagers, filming themselves breaking into IKEA overnight, with the boys finding themselves in whatever the Swedish equivalent of hot water is. TikTok video has emerged of the teens filming staff as they left for the evening before roaming around the empty store, laying around in hammocks, and that's pretty much it. Until the moment they finally left, setting off the security alarm. The IKEA TikTok thing is a viral challenge which has been around since the mid-2010s, but these doofuses were just a bit slow on the uptake. Oh, bless. No word on whether they made it to the very end of the maze-like store where the section marked "Stuff You Actually Need" is. Oh my God, kids, don't you just love them?
Yeah.
Getting a check of tomorrow's weather now. A shower or two developing for Cairns in 31. The same for Brisbane in 28. Showers for Sydney in 25. A shower or two for Canberra in 21. Partly cloudy for Melbourne and 27. Hobart will be sunny with a high of 24. Sunny in Adelaide and 30. A very hot and sunny day for Perth, getting up to 38. Partly cloudy in Alice Springs, hitting 28. And a shower or two, as well as a possible storm for Darwin, and 32. Robbo, my fine fellow, what do you got?
Well, we're going to check out on this day, but first I just want to talk about the vaccine rollout that you had in your news update. It is a really big problem, and it's really important for people to. There's websites, both the departments of health in all of your state, but also federally Department of Health. Go there. There is a form that you can fill out that will tell you when you're eligible or if you're eligible now. The big message is don't call your GP because they are being inundated with people trying to work out if they can get the vaccine. It can tell you on the website. There's also a phone number, which is 1-800-020-080, and they can let you know when you will be eligible to get the vaccine. The other thing is, and a story we're following on ABC Sunshine Coast Breakfast tomorrow morning, is a lot of GPs and medical staff are being abused. It's a massive problem now where anyone who's a staff member in a medical centre is getting really badly abused verbally, sometimes physically, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow on the program. Anyway, now for my little plugs over.
Oh, good stuff, Robin. No, that's fantastic. Thank you for that.
Let's have a look at what's happening on this day, March 18th, around the world throughout history. And it was on this day in 1881 that Barnum and Bailey Circus, also known as the greatest show on earth, debuted at Madison Square Garden in New York. The circus lasted for 146 years before closing in 2017 and, of course, inspired the musical The Greatest Showman. And it was on this day in 1965 that cosmonaut Alexei Leonov left his spacecraft for 12 minutes and 9 seconds, becoming the first person to walk in space. While it might look all smooth sailing, his space suit had inflated to the point where he could not re-enter the airlock. He very nearly did not make it back in, but managed to open a valve to allow some of the pressure to release. And it was on this day in 1992 that the legendary performer Donna Summer received a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame after embarking on a world tour. After her death in 2012, fans turned the star into a memorial, leaving candles, letters and merchandise. I love myself a bit of Donna Summer. Oh, that gets the blood pumping. Anyone else's blood pumping after Donna Summer? Anyone else at all? Anyone else still on air? Say anything. Anyone talk. Thank God for that. You're both still
MacArthur
here.
Park.
Oh, leave your cake.
She works hard for the money, which I can relate to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Robert,
someone left the cake out in the
now
rain.
It's time for our random live shot of the day.
It's the random live shot of the day. Where are you going today? You'll never know where you'll end up with the random live shot of the day.
And today we're taking you to what they call the Deer Pantry in Maine. They feed approximately 400 pounds per day of native oats to help sustain the white-tailed deer population through harsh winters. Each year from December 16 until the beginning of April, these wild deer know where to come for a good feed. And it sure is a harsh winter with a bottom of -4 today and a top of 6. Let's bring some feedback in. And, it's all right. I hadn't sent it through, Amanda. Apologies. Jason Turner says, does this mean we all need Q codes on our genitals? That's talking about the proposed sex app, the consent app. MVP Madsen says, what are you going to do when there's less people having sex? Jan says, and Robbo, this has been the biggest point of discussion today. Robbo, maybe you could wear another shirt one day.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been wearing this shirt for most of this program's life, and no one's ever noticed.
Well,
I mean, I've got a couple of them.
Seriously, they're not happy with the topics tonight, by the way. I can tell you right now, they are not happy with the topic selection.
Well, what are they saying?
They're calling it a slow news day. I thought the topics were good today.
Oh,
I thought the topics were one of our, seriously, up there with like our best shows. I thought these were tremendous topics, and I said that to you off air.
Oh, Mary's been saying boring. People have been ringing the bell. Seriously.
What the?
Now, this is boring from Matthew regarding the embryos. He says, not looking forward to being scratched by a random and they can have a child from the skin they took.
That's a very interesting insight. He's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Point. Big Brother
Very
Ross says
good point.
religion has caused more deaths in history than wars and viruses.
Thank you, Big Brother.
Correct.
Mary says, I believe in God, just not religion. And I think we'll leave it there. All right, thank you. Don't forget to send your feedback through to the ARR show on Twitter, Facebook.
I know.
And you can also follow us on YouTube there, and the Ange Robin Robert Show for TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram. And I fixed up I had the thing set incorrectly, so we weren't getting your tweets through the ARR page. It was still set to BRR. I only literally discovered that last night. So I'm getting your tweets through the @ARR show again.
No.
Could you?
I mean, I know Angeline's show was the first one last night, so that's okay, I guess. Oh, no, that's right. She's been here for ages. Oh, my God. My heart breaks, Angeline. Welcome to the show, Ange.
You know what? It might take me some time, but
Thanks,
I get there
guys.
in the end. I didn't... You know, there was a lot to do when Ange came in. I've only just fixed my email signature up. You know, there's been a lot to do, and slowly I get to everything. All right, save me, Jo Casamento. It's time for some entertainment news. Hello, Jo. Come on in.
Hello. How are we?
Tipsy Thursday to you too, my friend.
It is. It's a thirsty Thursday. I've got my own gin and tonic, and I've been on the couch watching the movie we're about to discuss.
Yes, so there's been some early reviews from movie critics, but as of tonight, 6 o'clock Australian Eastern Daylight Time, Zack Snyder's Justice League is out for the rest of us to judge. I, too, have watched an hour or so of it, but what do you think, Jo?
Okay, yes, so it's 4 hours long, right? So I'm only 90 minutes in. So far I've seen Jason Momoa's chest twice.
No, is that all?
Always a good start to a movie. Yeah. I did slow pause. And I've seen those Amazonian women kick butt. I've seen Ben Affleck a few times. So, look, I'm actually really enjoying it. Look, it can't get much worse than the last cut of this film. So, you know, as you said, early reviews are very mixed. But for me, so far, it's sort of an ambitious popcorn movie meets Greek mythology meets sort of godlike creatures. So I'm kind of enjoying it so far.
Is this Jack Snyder we're seeing here?
Yeah, who is that? Yeah.
That's Zack Snyder. So this is his version. He was the original director of the Justice League film we saw in 2017. He also directed Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, some of those really early big DC blockbusters that we grew familiar with. But tragically, during the creation of Justice League, Snyder's daughter actually died, and it was very tragic. And so he had to step away from the project, basically. So they threw in, they handed the reins over to Joss Whedon, who we knew from Avengers. Anyway, I'm sure you'll remember when that film came out in 2017, it was completely panned by the critics. It was an absolute flop. And all of the fans went nuts saying, bring back Snyder's cut, basically. So they demanded this redo. And he's made it his own now. And here is a little look at some of the trailer that we're talking about.
The bell's been rung. Out in the dark, among the stars, the god is dead.
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
My lord, this world will fall.
I need warriors. I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves. But honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
Do you have to have seen all of the other, like you mentioned Batman versus Superman, do you have to have seen those films for this to make sense?
Look, I would advise you do, but this is actually one where I think you could go in because, I mean, we grew up with the DC characters, right? And this is now their revival. But I would advise you do go back and watch some of those earlier films. I loved Wonder Woman.
I didn't see...
Oh, Wonder Woman was brilliant.
Joe, I didn't see Superman versus Batman, and I've come into this. This is really compelling. I've watched... just because I knew this was coming out, I was trying to watch the Joss Whedon cut, and I only got about 40 minutes into that. And I've got to say, the hour and a bit I've watched of the revised one with Zack Snyder's version is so much more compelling. I'm engrossed. The time is flying by. The story makes sense to me. I get that Superman has been killed. That's not a spoiler alert. It opens. The opening frame is that. But what is interesting is that while the trailer here is in 16:9, the film is only in 4:3.
Oh, is that why it was funny on my TV screen?
Yeah, well, they did put a big disclaimer at the top saying this is presented in the original format Jack Snyder wanted. It's 4:3. We've gone backwards.
Backwards in time.
Called 4:3.
We have. I agree with you, Rob, because some of that earlier one was very hard to follow, and this one, I mean, and my brain doesn't always cope with the universes, but this one is actually easy to follow. I usually have to put the subtitles on. And kind of so I can get it and ask the kids 100 times.
Me too. I put subtitles.
Do you? So much better with subtitles, right?
Yes.
This is just reminding
terrible when you have to have
comic
books explained.
It's available on Foxtel Binge, Foxtel Now, and all the basically Foxtels. What did you think, Joe? What's your score?
So far, I'm giving it a really positive 3.5 out of 5. Maybe even creeping up to a 4. But as I said, I've got 3 hours left.
Yeah.
A lot could go south. You know, it really could go south.
I'm definitely at a 4 so far. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. I mean, Gal Gadot, I think, they're more perfect casting. Sorry, Jason Momoa. I think those two could, captivate me for any length of time.
They sure
I think
could.
I did see my call past Jared Leto in there.
Yes, he pops up at the end as Batman. So as the Joker.
Good enough for me.
So that's interesting as well.
Hang on, the number of hall passes you've got, Ange, it's like War and Peace. It's like a different name every week. You bring up, here's my hall pass, here's my hall pass, and she's my hall pass.
Okay, then it's 2 people.
Who was the other one? I want to know the other one.
David Robinson.
Another time, darling.
Call me later.
Yeah, done.
All right.
I can't wait to hear about it.
A new Marvel series comes. Sorry, I'm very hot now. A new Marvel series comes out tomorrow, Jo Casamento.
It does talk about sticking with the universes. This one is, of course, in the Marvel universe. After the huge success of WandaVision, the next Marvel series in Phase 4 of the Avengers is coming out tomorrow, and it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, if you've seen the Avenger movies, you'll be familiar with both of these characters, Sam Wilson, who is Falcon, and Bucky, who is the Winter Soldier. Let's have a look at some of the trailer of this one.
It feels like it belongs to someone else. That shield represents a lot of things to a lot of people.
This world is ours. There's no going back.
It doesn't have to be a war.
It already is.
So we're partners, co-workers, not necessarily a team. No. We look damn good, though.
Yeah. Now, I'm saving this one for Saturday night with my son, but Rob, I think you've had a sneak peek. Is that the case?
Yeah, I was I've been a good boy this year, and Disney sent me an early Christmas present.
Oh,
I have seen episode 1. I watched it yesterday, and we're supposed to hold reviews until tomorrow morning, but you know what, Jo? They're not going to mind me saying this. It is brilliant. It is like watching a feature film as a series. Like the special effects, the action sequences, the storyline. This is feature film quality on a streaming service as a weekly series. It is absolutely unbelievable. Just like WandaVision was really like, cinematic television. This is a movie that you would go and see this on the big screen. That is how good this is. It is absolutely brilliant.
Disney are just bringing it, aren't they? I know really everyone has been loving WandaVision. They really are stepping it up. Well, that's exciting. So I'll be watching that one Saturday night.
So it's a 4.5 stars from me.
Okay, nice. 4.5 choc tops. Beautiful. I actually didn't have choc tops tonight. Do you scrape across the Neapolitan ice cream?
No.
Like the strawberry vanilla chocolate?
Not. No.
Yes.
Oh, you don't? You keep it separate?
I do one scoop of vanilla, one scoop of chocolate, one, and I never do the strawberry.
Because it's fruit.
Oh, that's my first one.
It used to be fruit. There's no fruit and vegetables in this diet. I'll tell you right now.
Robbo.
That's why we love you. That's why we love you.
So, Ms. Casamento, as much as I love superhero movies, not. I'm thrilled that we now get to talk about something else that involves Brad Pitt. I know. Who is not my whole past, by the way. But I like talking about him anyway. So, it seems...
Hang on. Sorry. Alert the authorities. Brad Pitt is not one of Angie's hall passes. We'll have to delete him from the list.
No, he's a bit beneath me. I don't know what I mean. So, Brangelina. Who doesn't love a good Brangelina story? And who doesn't love a Brangelina divorce story? Because it's gotten really messy and it looks like it's going to carry on.
I know. They've sort of been MIA for a while, haven't they? Because there was a decade where they were every week on the cover of the magazines. But it looks like it's all about to resurface because it's hard to believe. I find this hard to believe, but there have been snippets over the years of alleged domestic violence and abuse from Brad Pitt. Back in 2016, I think we heard that Brad was being investigated by the FBI and social services for an alleged incident on a private jet. I'm sure you recall that one. He was cleared of those allegations and nothing has ever been proven or substantiated. But that's about to change, apparently. The ex-couple
her publicity team says, come on, Jo.
Well, I'll tell you what,
every ex-partner, she destroys them. And the thing she's surprised about is in this instance, Hollywood has been on Brad Pitt's side and she has been painted as the unsavory character she is.
But Rob, this is going to be interesting because it has been 5 years and their long-awaited trial in their divorce is about the custody battles is about to hit the court. So it is actually about to hit the limelight again in that regard. And 3 of the kids are now of an age where they can testify if they wish to do so. It hasn't been reported whether they will. But Angelina has filed several documents for this court hearing to suggest that she's ready and willing to offer proof to support those claims of domestic abuse. So it really will be her time to, put the proof out there if she does indeed have it. There's also reported testimony.
In the world because every person she's ever been with have been horrible and bad, and only her has been the princess extraordinaire. She draws them to her like a moth to the flame, where she's the victim. I'm sorry, this woman. The things I've read about her, no.
That must be true.
So you think she's like her Maleficent character, Rob, basically, do you? You don't think she's acting in that one?
Maleficent is more likeable.
Ouch. Anyway, it is about to get very messy. I know. I always feel like poor Brad as well. And those kids, and, there is a way to handle a divorce. I'm living proof of that. And, it's just sad when there's that sort of stuff going on when you've got so many kids. So it's sad.
That's certainly a sad part of the story, of course. Just a little tidbit for everyone. One of Australia's leading entertainment reporters once told me that Brad Pitt constantly stinks of BO. Always doesn't smell very nice at all.
I've heard that too. So it must be
Yeah.
an entertainment reporter we both know. We're
That's
probably
a
at the
real
same party.
turn-off.
Who knows? But that's all, it's all the weed.
Oh, gee, it doesn't matter how good looking you could be. That would be a real turn off, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. B.O.
Yeah.
Oh, and Joe, Melissa McCarthy has fallen victim to the creepy crawlies of Australia.
Your question, buddy.
That's right, Rob. From one Hollywood
time I didn't
superstar. There was a quite. We were all contemplating Brad's BO, weren't we?
Yeah.
So Melissa McCarthy, who we all know is in Australia, filming up in Byron Bay. Well, she's fallen victim to a spider. She posted this on Instagram about her encounter with a huntsman. Let's take a little look at this.
I love that all the bugs and creatures will kill you. I love that I've seen a spider the size of my head.
I'm itchy.
She's itchy?
It's reached my face.
She's in hand gel. That's a huntsman. I found it magical.
Pretty puffy, guys. Good day, mate.
So some of the comments were quite funny, with people pointing out that they're one of our only spiders that won't kill you. Nevertheless, it was enough to have a lot of people outside of Australia pretty scared. I mean, they do look scary if you don't realise, if you're not familiar with them, right? Melissa is, of course, one of the many Hollywood celebs in Australia at the moment with her partner Ben Falcone. She's been filming 9 Perfect Strangers and has a guest role in Thor: Love and Thunder, which is filming at my local golf course, can I just say?
Oh.
And it seems now has finally had the true Aussie experience. I had one today. Actually, Ange Bishop just posted on Instagram a photo of a giant huntsman that she's sharing her bedroom tonight. She said, "Look who's my bedroom guest."
Does that huntsman have BO?
Oh, Melissa, I've got a spider too.
Well, it did look real, and it looked pretty. I wouldn't be sleeping with it. I'd be
Bishop,
killing
don't you
it.
dare,
Yes.
Robbo. I'm taking the piss.
Yes. Look, I'm going to suggest something here. What a load of rubbish. She didn't get bitten by a spider. She's just doing PR stuff. No, we should salute the woman. It's fantastic. She gets headlines all around the world.
Yeah, doing the Aussie thing.
Wait. Rob can go on about Angelique.
Yes. What?
No, nothing.
Angelina.
Angelina. No, nothing to you. I just did a Rob. Hey, Joe, we've been following
Is that what we call it when we stuff up? I just did a Rob?
Doing a Rob.
No. Only if it's mispronouncing a name.
Oh, okay. All right.
So nothing
I'll cop
else.
That. I'll cop that, Robo.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks.
All right, who's going to ask me my next question?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Jo Casamento. Chanel, Joe, we've been following this story with Sharon Osbourne for some time on The Talk. Now she's spoken out. What has she said?
Yes, it's been very messy, right? This incident with The Talk last week where Sharon and her co-host Cheryl Underwood butted heads over Piers Morgan and whether his comments were racist. Since then, her future with the show has been put in question. The show is taking an unplanned hiatus while they actually investigate this incident, along with other allegations from her ex-hosts of her behaviour and comments. But she spoke to Entertainment Tonight about the situation, and here's some of what she had to say.
I finished saying what I'm saying, and then Cheryl asked me these questions, which I didn't know, and they were written questions, and then Elaine's reading her questions.
Stand up for anti-racism.
And I'm like, I've been set up.
What do you want to say to Cheryl?
I love Cheryl. I've apologized to Cheryl. She's not gotten back, and I can understand Cheryl needs her time.
Do you understand how people could look at it and say, you telling her not to cry could look like you are attacking Cheryl?
Oh, I was having a go at my friend. I got too personal with Cheryl. I should never have said about her tears. I should never have dismissed her feelings on national TV.
That is a woman trying to keep her job.
Yeah,
it is. She did elaborate on the feeling of how she was set up, and if you watch the full interview, she talks about how the co-host had an agreement that they'd never raise a question that was going to shock them, and she felt in this instance she'd very much been blindsided by the network, by that whole line of questioning to sabotage her, and that she said CBS wants her gone due to her friendship with Piers, and so it seems to, I think it's time's up.
Hang on.
Sharon,
So hang
Sharon
on.
Austin.
We're now in a situation where people are getting fired for who they're friends with. That's it. It's game over. Society has crumbled, everybody. We don't live in a free society
We've gone
where you can
mad.
be friends with whoever. You're friends with
it's
Piers
rubbish.
Morgan. You don't deserve a job on TV. Give me strength.
Yep, agreed.
I know,
100%. What a ridiculous
Pepe
idea.
Le Pew was cancelled the other week for being a stalker, so...
Well,
really...
Yes, we talked about that on the show. I know. I said to Robin Robbie, I thought he was cancelled because he was French.
So hang on, Joe. With Pepe Le Pew, are you saying because that cat put a white stripe on her, she had it coming? Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
You bastard.
I'm just going to zip my lip because you can't say anything right. Can't say anything at all.
You
that does
cannot
bring us
say
to the
anything
end
right.
of the
That's
show.
exactly right, Joe.
That
You
does
never
bring us
can.
to the end of the show. But, Joe, today on the TV Black Box website, we broke the news that Todd McKenney and Paul Mercurio would be returning to Dancing with the Stars. Well, I've received a message tonight that Seven have confirmed that with an on-air promo that also reveals Helen Richie is returning. This comes after we broke the news that Daryl Summers will be the host, and I'm 90% certain that Sonia Kruger will be part of the show as well. So that's a bit of
that
breaking
fills my
news.
heart.
Yeah.
That is fantastic news. I love every single one of those people you've just said. Helen Richie in her fabulous hair, Sonia and her Tina Sparkle, Todd is just the best mean judge with the biggest smile, and Paul Mercurio. I mean, he's the original ballroom dancer.
Sorry, Joe, I think from what people are telling me, and I haven't seen the promo, I think Mark Wilson's back as well.
Even better. Wow. Well, I've got to say, Channel 7 are bringing it with that, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-week big event, and I think it'll be coming our way sooner rather than later. Joe, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Anjali Rao and David Robinson. We look forward to seeing you
ABC
Monday
Sunshine
with an
Coast
all-new
tomorrow,
edition of the
90.3
Ange
FM
Robin
on the
Robbo
ABC
Show.
Listen app. Check it out, ABC Sunshine Coast Breakfast.
I'm
See you
using
tomorrow.
your mic. Too many ABC plugs. It's good night from McKnight. We'll see you next week. Good night, Australia.
See Ange Robbo, Ange Robbo Show.